Alrighty guys, so the new Lyrical Luscinias, those lolly girl Blackwings, are one of the most annoying decks to face because they just don't die. Now, we talked about them when they first came out, and I was like, you know what, you can't OTK with them, but you can basically deal a bunch of damage to your opponent, then the next turn you finish them off. You basically make your opponent put on this timer where if they can't bust out like a Trishula or something that doesn't target and that doesn't destroy, you're just gonna lose to this deck. These little like girl birds are just gonna wreck you. Look at that thing. Like, you're gonna lose these little like, oh my gosh, this deck it's so annoying. Just watch these replays in action. I'll also give you guys the deck profile. Shout out to Mr. Aster for sending in this replay. There's a lot of variants. There's even a replay where they make a Quasar. And at first, I didn't think this deck was that good. Again, I was just thinking, oh, well, you could just bounce it back. Well, one of the cards actually makes it so you cannot target it. You can see the guy makes a Castell. He wanted to bounce his back, but he couldn't target it because it cannot be targeted. And that is by Cobalt Sparrow's effect. When you use it as material, your opponent cannot target this card with card effects. So you got this monster that can attack multiple times, and it can't be destroyed because you detach the material, and it cannot be targeted. So pretty much your opponent is just going to be like, I gotta make Trishula. And not very many decks right now in the meta even play Trishula in their extra deck. Granted, yeah, there are some decks that, you know, can play it. I think every deck needs to be able to have access to Trishula. Right here we can see it pull off a Quasar Dragon. But, I mean, the whole deck itself, I mean, yeah, I did use Soul Charge. I mean, Soul Charge, pretty good card, but being able to get out a bunch of level 1s is basically key in a lot of Quasar combos, and especially with the Charge Warrior. Being able to draw that extra card can definitely be good at certain times. You also have Jet War over here. Look at the sackiness of Cup of Ace. But I just want to showcase this other variant of the deck in action. Pretty much at this point, you know, you make a Quasar, most decks. I mean, E-Heroes in 2016 with no Stratos, good luck, Kappa. But not going to be looking too good. He's got Double Call of the Haunted and Form Change. Not exactly the ideal hand. His opponent ends up quitting. But anyways, let's go ahead and see it against ABC because, you know, that's one of the more meta decks, so to speak. I have no idea why there's a Toon Cyber Dragon in here. Maybe just as another level 5 target, just so you can go ahead and make better use of those Galaxy Soldiers because, you know, you only really have one access to a Cyber Dragon Infinity, but, you know, I've seen some other builds play Cyber Dragon just to kind of deal with the mirror match because it still is a pretty good card at the end of the day. But anyways, here's like the basic bread and butter. Make this card and make sure it cannot be targeted. Make the Assembly Nightingale over here, or Nightingale. Okay, there we go. I pronounced a card right for once. Anyways, so you make this card, can't be targeted, and it can attack as many times as it has material. And, you know, that's a pretty good effect. And it also gains 200 attack for each material. You can see he's activating Regeki. He's going to go ahead and protect this card, and it can't be targeted, so you can't even, like, Castell it. There's so many decks that just need to target a card if it can't be destroyed by battle or by card effects. And then on top of that, I mean, yeah, it has low attack, and his opponent activates, like, if your opponent activates, like, 2 Solemns, you know, that puts him down at a point where you could just kind of win the game. And he's going to go ahead and increase the attack, and of course, he's going to attack directly once again. And that's basically what the deck does. And I think that's the only way to play the deck as of right now. You could consider it a possibility to make it a rank 1 spam deck. Like, there's still decent rank 1s in the game. And obviously, you can make a lot of different things. This is another build over here from Yuki. This is a more synchro-oriented build, but still, having access to cards like F-Zero are great because, you know, obviously you have a lot of different number cards in the deck. Lionheart, not a bad card at all. There's a lot of other great cards in this. And also there's the Recite Starling over here. I'm going to move this so you guys can read the effect while we're going to go ahead and just showcase off the replays because it's pretty much the same thing over and over where you're attacking directly. But anyways, we got the Recite Starling over here, and its effect is that it can detach to add 1 Wing Beast monster from your deck to your hand, and also when it succeeds summon, you get to target a monster in the field. It gains 300 attack for each material currently attached to this card, so you get to boost it up by a little bit, as you guys will see time and time again in these replays. Being able to add the cards, he's going to go ahead and just boost its attack up by an additional 300 for each one, and then on top of that, any battle damage you take from attacks involving this exceed summon card is also inflicted to your opponent. So therefore, you basically have these really small trash monsters that let you essentially attack directly. And when they have like one big monster on the board and you attack directly multiple times with like a smaller monster, let's say like 1900 or to like 1200 even, you attack multiple times depending on the material attached to it, and then they have a big monster, you just crash and you finish off the game. And that's kind of what the deck does, and you can see it against other decks in action over here. I think the things that will kill this deck are things that negate this special summoning of that like one monster when you go ahead and bring it out. Specifically like cards such as Solemn Strike, Solemn Warning, heck, Black Horn of Heaven, anything that just stops you from special summoning that Exceed monster, because it's sometimes a hefty investment. Like, it depends how many Exceed material you want, but basically it comes down to a rank 1 spam deck. And you just make this, and you can see United We Stand, pretty good card in the game, being able to attack multiple times. I think he accidentally misclicked over there, and he decided to attack Chaos Hunter. I think you should have just attacked for game, but nonetheless, maybe he was just wanting to disrespect his opponent. Yuki over here, pretty cheeky with this play. He's going to go ahead and activate Break Sword's effect, but he can just protect the card. And at that point, a lot of decks just lose. You basically throw out a monster, again, protecting it, and it protects itself, pretty much. I don't know really what decks will play Trish in the extra deck. I know Metal Foes will have access to it because obviously that's like a kind of a toolbox-ish deck, but ABC generally doesn't have access to it. Sometimes they don't even play it because, they gotta run the 3 ABC, they gotta run the Utopia Lightning, they gotta run Castell, they gotta run a lot of cards. Some play Gear Gang at X, there's a lot of different builds, but you don't have room in certain decks. But I feel like this deck will force you to play it because you need to be able to Trishula it. And I want to ask you guys this question. What other card deals with a card that cannot be targeted or be destroyed by battle or by card effects? Because that's basically what the card does. That's meta. I know that someone's going to be like, Visor Shock. Okay, that doesn't count, okay? Visor Shock is like level 5 and Tribute 1. It's bad, okay? I'm talking about like meta cards to deal with this card because, again, it's annoying, and I find it to be one of the most annoying decks, because I know you guys want me to upload some videos of the Fluffle Shadal deck, but I can't. I get matched up against this. They make this stupid card, and I don't know what to do. Like, it attacks me for a bunch of points, and I'm like, I can spell summon a bunch of monsters, but I can't game them. And that's the problem. I don't know what to do. Not even one of my favorite cards, Forbidden Chalice, saves me from this annoying card because it can't be targeted. I don't know what to do. This is, again, one of the most annoying decks. I need to know, guys, what do we side deck against this? I know there's Black Horn of Heaven, but like, if the card already comes out, Black Horn of Heaven not going to do you any good. You're just going to get wrecked. I guess you could stop some of the cards that boost it up, but again, it's just really annoying. He attacks into this. Maybe he didn't read the effect that his opponent would also take the battle damage. But this is one of the most annoying decks to run into. But anyways, I'm gonna give you guys a deck profile. You guys can just please don't play this against me. That's all I want to say. The Lyrical deck profile. Let's go ahead and check it out. There's a lot of different builds of it. All it really comes down to, guys, is a rank 1 spam deck. You don't have to play a lot of these cards. I think that you can make good use of cards like Effect Veiler. That would definitely be a great addition to this because it's also level 1, and you can prevent yourself from losing against certain decks. But anyways, let's go ahead and jump into the deck profile. We'll talk a little bit about it. So, but it's pretty straightforward. You make this thing and you make your opponent wonder, can I make Trishula? Nope. Okay, well, most decks just lose. Like, it's really annoying. But anyways, we have 3 copies of Kinkabio, 1 copy of DD Crow, 1 copy of Glow Bulb. We have 2 copies of Snow Bell, 3 copies of the Turquoise Warbler, 3 copies of the Swallow, my favorite. She's definitely not a quitter, man. And then we got 3 copies of Cobalt Sparrow, 3 copies of Jester Confit, 1 copy of Unknown Synchron, 3 Battle Faders, 1 Mirror Resonator, 1/1/1, 3 copies of Where Art Thou, 1 Upstart Goblin, 1 Foolish Burial, 2 copies of Twin Twisters, 2 copies of Swallow's Nest, 3 copies of United We Stand, 3 copies of Harpy's Featherstorm. Now, a lot of people think that Harpy's Feather Duster might come back because of this card, but we didn't really get to see this card in action, but it's a pretty good effect. It's really simple. Control Wind Wing Beast monster, which is pretty much the entire deck. Negate any monster effects your opponent activates this entire turn. That's a pretty good effect. If you control a Harpy monster, you can activate this card from your hand, and then if this card in its owner's spell and trap zone is destroyed by an opponent's card effect, you can add a Harpy's Feather Duster from your deck or graveyard to your hand. I don't know, guys. That looks like a pretty good effect. Again, we don't have it in the TCG. But in the OCG, heck, this deck looks pretty good. I mean, again, it's just... is so annoying. Please don't play this deck against me on the live streams, man. Anyways, Power Tool Dragon. Yeah, you can search for all them equips, specifically United We Stand and United We Stand in this one. Then we got Coral Dragon, we got the Herald of Arclight, one form of Synchron Sylvan Princess Sprite. We got Utopia Roots, Slacker Magician, number 54. Number F0, 3 copies of Recite Starling, 3 copies of Assembly Nightingale. And then for the side deck over here, there's probably cards that he was considering playing. He considered Solemn Strike, but, I mean, you don't really need to negate any monster that your opponent has, for the most part. I know there's Trishula, but other than that, like, what do you need to negate? Like, I don't know. I just don't think there's very many things that deal with this in the meta. You guys let me know down below, but let me know what you think of this deck. Do you guys think it's OP? I just find it to be very annoying to fight right now. And, you know, it's a new deck, so everyone's going to be playing it, and I understand. Maybe I'll try my Fluffle Dolls next week when the hype dies down a little bit, even though me making this video is going to make people play this deck, because that's just kind of what happens. But let me know, guys, how are you guys dealing with this card when it can't be targeted? Because that's a problem for a lot of my decks. But anyways, thanks for watching, guys. If you enjoyed the vid, make sure you guys give a like button, a titty slap, and shout outs to all you guys for sending in those really awesome replays. Even though I was gonna build this deck, but like after seeing the replays, I'm like, well, it's pretty much the same thing. Whether I play it or someone else plays it, it's the same concept. But nonetheless, thanks for all you guys sending those replays. And as always, you guys can always submit me in those good replays at azneyesreplays@gmail.com. But thanks for watching, guys, and I am signing out.